What's going on, y'all? Paul the Barbarian here. Now, we've taken a look at one-handed weapons. Now let's take a look at some two-handed weapons. I mean, I like smashing stuff, don't you? So, we're going to take a look at a couple of things today. I've got two different Falchions. They're both from the Romancing of the Alexander of Romance, Romancing Alexander, one of the two. It's a manuscript. I'll put a link in the description below. Got two different Falchions from the same manuscript. I have a Bardich, or Bardich, as terrible English speakers will mispronounce everything. I've got a shorter-handed two-handed axe, and I have standard longsword right here. So, we're going to smash some stuff. We're going to talk about some things and how you go about using these in a melee. First weapon we're going to talk about is longsword. Now, the longsword, the way this is set up, this is more of a dueling weapon. This is made by Tilko, Tyclo, however you want to describe it or pronounce it. This is a singles weapon. I do not use this in melees. This is not a great weapon for using in melees. There are people that do use them in melees, but since we can't grab hold of the blade with your other hand, not nearly as much you can do with it. This isn't about making, like, hitting with such force or anything else like that. Historically, this is used to stab people and such. Now, this, in a singles concept, is a very great weapon. I enjoy Tilko. They do have some issues with sometimes breaking at the top, but swords aren't meant to last forever. They are what they are. This is about dexterity, cuts, combinations, really doing some dynamic sword work with this weapon. Now, I do enjoy the nice big pommel they put at the end of it. That's a pretty good one. You could really give somebody the business with it. And I'm not going to smash anything with this because I really like my longsword. I really like it not being broken, and I probably would break it. But this is a really fun weapon. It's really fast. You can do some real work with it. I'll probably do a video talking about some longsword work, maybe talking with a couple of guys that are much better at longsword than I am. So, but we do have, we're going to talk about these Falchions real quick. Got the one there. Talk about these Falchions. These Falchions are pretty nifty. I like these things. They're pretty fun, but you're gonna watch this wiggle. Oh, look at that wiggle. Not super keen on big wiggles. I'm not really happy with them because sometimes when you're chopping with them, they move around a little bit and they're awkward to swing with. They do deliver a lot of power and a lot of force. This handguard down here is actually pretty cool. It gives you a little bit of a counterbalance, kind of like a pommel would be. Then you've got this nifty little tail down here at the bottom where you can really grab a hold. You can get a little bit of a wider stance on your hands and really max somebody. This is about punching through and getting real good with a falchion. See this big wide part of the blade up here? That's where your damage is happening. Usually this spike would be a lot more vicious. It would punch right through armor. Really devastating weapon, really fun. You can do some work with it in steel, but I like axes. I'm biased. But these are fun and you can really chop something with them. So, got the one. We'll chop with that one here in a second. And then we've got the other one. The pizza paddle, as I like to call. A little bit wider blade all the way across. Doesn't really have a really protruding tip here at the end. But this is actually pretty good because it doesn't, not a lot of wiggle there. It's mainly wiggling in my hand than anything else. These are really nice for stiff. They're good. You don't have the handguard in the way, so you can lose your hand. You can let your hand slide off. You can get out of a grapple. This won't get caught nearly as badly as that big D handle will. Getting out of a grapple, just slide stuff out. I mean, it does that kind of stuff. But it still hits fairly hard. We'll see what it does. Let's go to the big thing. I have some mild steel sitting there. It's an old piece of Lorica segmentata. I've got it sitting on this thing. Give it a little bit more give so it's not just completely bottomed out on the wood, but we'll see what goes. I'll go with a wider stance on it. I like a wider chop. Just obliterate it. Just destroy it. I mean, I don't need to. I mean, it's mild steel. It didn't really bottom out too bad, but it did leave a bunch of force in it. Now, what else I got sitting over here for the short one? Oh, well, I got a 4130 Nikon. This is made by Really Bad Armor that I'm really glad doesn't make armor anymore. It's not even in the sport, I believe. But we're going to smash the ever-living crap out of it. We'll see what happens. This little one's not nearly as long. Doesn't nearly have as much of a progression of blade width at that top, but it probably still hit pretty hard. We'll see. I mean, I hit it at an articulation spot and I definitely creased it. 4130 spring steel. He did actually have a pretty good temper on most of it. You don't really get too many creases in it, but I definitely creased that. I'm also being really mean to this. I'm chopping straight down. All that force just travels right into it. Man, I like hitting stuff. But did leave a nice crease in there. Right there, I don't know if you can see it. So, Falchions, they're pretty cool. I like them. That big one's a little floppier. This one's a little bit shorter, doesn't hit nearly as hard. Pros and cons to every weapon. It is what it is. So, let's go to the American favorite. Short-handled, double-handed axe. People really like these in the United States. We go and use them in a lot of melees. You'll see teams that just walk out with a whole 5 of these things walking out there. Not exactly the best play. They aren't nearly as effective as one would hope because everybody thinks they can just go out and baseball bat things. Doesn't really work like that. All of these weapons require practice, time, and building of skills to use them efficiently and effectively in a fight. Really put people down 1 shot, 2 shots. I do like how this axe is constructed though. The way that the head of this triangular comes together here. This is a fully forged blade. It's not welded. That triangle actually transfers all the force out of the handle and you're swinging directly into the blade. And it smashes stuff. I do some work with this axe. Now what am I going to smash with it? I don't know. Let's see. Well, I got floating right there. Well, I got a pot. I don't know. Pots are made out of good steel, right? I don't know, maybe. We'll see what happens. I mean, the kersizzling of pots. Just smashing it. I mean, I want to smash it again. It's never a bad plan to smash it. But, like, I'm starting at a wider stance. You're moving down, going to a closer stance with the swing. Just start up. I mean, I didn't really put my hands into it, and I also hit it right on the shoulder. Strongest part of the pot. So, I can go kersizzle over there. Two-handed axes are pretty dope. I like having a shorter handled axe. You can let your hand go off the end of this thing, get out of a grapple pretty well. You can use it as a lever. It does good work that way. I like a thicker head, being able to transfer a lot more weight, a lot more speed into the strike. Really hit people in the gaps, really hit them in the hip. You can really do some damage and knock people down. So, let's go to the big boy. By the way, safety glasses, safety first. You always want to smash stuff with some good stuff on it. So, I have another pot that I'm never going to use. I like destroying things. It's Bardich. You're going to notice something about this Bardich. It wiggles a lot. This is hafted on rattan. Rattan is very nice, it's very tough, it's very durable, it takes a lot of swings and it doesn't really break nearly as easily. It does break, not saying it doesn't, but it does have a lot more flex to it, a lot more wiggle to it. That means it won't like explode when you're blocking with it, but it won't transfer the amount of force that you want it to nearly as much or as often. Big thing about this Bardich, you can grab and get your hand in that. Really get a good handle grappling. I don't entirely like doing that because it kind of locks my hand in there sometimes. You can see trying to get that big knuckle out of there. But it does transfer a lot of force. Longer weapons like that, there's a butt spike on the end of this thing, give it a little bit more counterbalance so you can bring it back and start it up again. But longer weapons like this you don't really see in 5-on-5 smaller melees. You usually see them in 10s, 12s, 15s, or 10s, 12s, 30s, 16s. Yeah, that's the other one. So, we have this. Now, I'm on my second shot for the COVID vaccine. They told me to work out my shoulder. I figured swinging and smashing stuff is a good enough workout. So we're gonna see if I can get this thing to swing well enough. Big long piece, and if it turns. Thing is about this, like he's got the sides of his handle shaved down. You probably can't see it from there. It's shaved down flat, so you have a little bit better of an index of where your blade is. It's really important with these things because they do turn. They naturally want to turn in your hand. You need to practice with these things and really work with them to make sure that you're hitting on edge and square. It's where you're delivering all the power into this thing. Let's see how much I destroy this pot. Oh, big old. Jesus, this thing's long. She said. I I mean, that's not bad, guys. I hit a little bit more to the shoulder. Figured I'd hit it right on the toughest part of the pot, which is right on the edge where it's bent. I mean, that's a hell of a crease, but we're gonna do it again. I like smashing stuff. Thuggish, just thuggish. You can take a little bit more of a lot wider stance on this, but you're not going to deliver nearly as much force. You're going to be a little bit more controlled in your swing. Let's see what goes. I mean, it still creeps. I mean, I broke it there as well. One more, because I like swinging stuff. All the way down at the bottom, most uncontrollable swing I can humanly come up with. Still pretty good. That's why we don't wear mild. So, don't need those anymore. We're all about swinging stuff. We're all about smashing stuff. You know what I'm about. I like hitting things. We're going to talk a little bit more about weapons, weapon usage, when you can use the best weapons, and how to go about doing it. I'm going to put some more Pell stuff out. I'm going to talk with some other guys that are much better at swinging things than I am sometimes, and we're going to do it. Keep your eyeballs on the channel. Keep up with things. Go back, watch some old stuff if you want. We got a couple more things coming down the pipeline. I got some real pretty axes to show off in the next video, guys. You're not ready for the prettiness of these things. Hell, I wasn't when I opened up the package. So I want everybody to be safe. Go out and get some fights. We're in beautiful June weather right now. It's great. And I can't wait to get more swinging in. I need to hit people. It's really a needed thing. But be safe. Have a good time. Get vicious. Get the fuck out.